gonna pull for someone today. Heal support for blood type. Interesting. This should be fun. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. But that is rocket science right there. Store-bought is fine. She's daughter. We love Rubuska. Yeah, I'm pulling for her. She might be the new best healer in the game. All right, well, here we are. I have taken way too long to do the kit review video for Rubuska, so we're just gonna do that. I haven't watched any of her stuff yet, but I am tired at 1 in the afternoon on Wednesday, December 24th. It is Christmas Eve, and we're gonna do a gosh darn kit review, because I don't think I can swear this early in the video, for Rubuska. Finally. Some housekeeping, because I did say in the last reverse video that I was going to start doing the story off, like the main story off camera, so we could catch up faster. And if you look at my clear drops up here, all right, well, let me get my weekly interactions in with some boys. Did I just do I did all my weeklies. That's how much I've been playing reverse recently. So, little update, I have 5,820 clear drops. In terms of unilogs, 9. I have 9 unilogs. All right. I still don't know who we're pulling for because I do want Mercuria's Christmas garment. And I think my record, this banner isn't as great, but I know my event record, if I can click the right button, is pretty good. Oh, is it the same? I like how it keeps the anniversary limited in there. Yeah. Time limited banner. Oh yeah, no, it's the same. Okay, so I do have to win a 50-50, which means we could kind of just pull on whoever we want to. Yeah, Mourner's Eulogy was, I went to the bitter end for Charon, did not get Charon, so we're like really close to getting something. Maybe not as close as I thought though. Well, yeah, 34 pity. Wow, I thought I was farther along. Okay. I don't know who we're gonna pull for yet, because did we do a dedicated kit review for Mercuria? I don't even know. I can't even go back and watch my own video, I don't think. Anyways, Rubuska. We are gonna do her kit review. We're gonna pull for someone today because I need to use some of these pulls up, but a little bit of progress on the main story has been made. Particularly, I, first of all, started Artificial Somnambulism. I'm about halfway through the surface level. Very fun, actually. At least for now, at least until it starts getting difficult. I have not touched on Window to Other Worlds yet, but as you can see here, I did all of chapter 3, all of chapter 4. I have not started Prisoner in the Cave yet because I finished chapter 4 last night. Cried. So I was like, okay, that's enough for today. It wasn't even that it was sad. The end of chapter 4 is probably the most hopeful this story has ever been, and this game will ever be. But it was just, if you haven't done the main story, I'm going to spoil it a little bit, but it's early main story, so I don't think it's that bad. The very last part where Madam Z is like singing happy birthday to herself in Chinese, I started bawling like a baby. I don't know what it is, but that made me cry. So we're going to do a kit review now. Guess what? I forgot to record again. I just finished, I like remembered halfway through the video and I was like, well, now I can't stop midway through, so I'll record it at the end. But before we actually get into the kit, Rubuska's kit. Well, this particular video, it's not sponsored. I am a partnered creator with Blue Upbuck and Reverse 1999, and will be receiving compensation for this video. We can get on with the video now. And we are going to probably end up pulling for Rubuska. I think she's cute. That's daughter, you know? So, yeah. 6-star mineral character. Heal support for blood type. Interesting. No, I probably need her because that means she's probably the best in slot for the Nautica team, which if you don't know, the Nautica team, at least that I've been running recently, and I don't have a healer for it, which is what I was like, I don't want to like bust my butt trying to get Ezra, even though Ezra is my son. But the Nautica team is Nautica main DPS, Semmelweis support, Sentinel sub DPS support situation, and then a healer, or like a sustained support unit, which Rubuska would be that character. Blood type heal support. Yeah, that would be her. Okay, so that changes things. We're probably gonna pull. I'll probably lose a 50-50, so we'll see who we actually get, but this should be fun. And then after I do the kit review, I'm actually gonna start doing the main event so I can get the content up in a timely manner. But for now, 5 minutes into the video, let's start this kit review. We're gonna start with her ult and work our way backwards, and we'll go from there. Okay, first of all, her ultimate skill is called All Hail Rubuska the First. I know Rubuska the First, I think, is the name of her, it's like the name of her EP track or something that comes up somewhere. But this is a single target buff that grants the Shadow Feast thing to the target for 1 round. Can you tell him how to practice on a kit review? We'll figure it out. Restores the user's max HP times 10% HP to all allies. So it's Rubuska's HP, 10% her max HP to everyone. Which is, that's not like a huge amount, but I would assume maybe this gets buffed out somewhere else. Usually that's in the pay to play section. Shadow Feast, though, is a positive status effect. This empties all allies' points of Shadow Cloak, except for the targets. Shadow Cloak is a stacking mechanic, and for every point owned, you gain max HP plus 1. For every 200 to 300 points of Shadow Cloak owned, you gain crit damage or ultimate might plus 1. So I'm guessing for every 200 points, it's a crit damage buff, and then for every 300 points, it's an ultimate might buff, but it's plus 1%. So if you have 400 Shadow Cloak points, I don't know where Shadow Cloak stat caps out, by the way, but if you have 400, you get plus 2% crit damage. Then if you have like 600, you also get plus 2% of ultimate might. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. The target then gains 20% of all the emptied points of Shadow Cloak combined, not doing the math. Oh, I don't want to do 200. Well, so if you have 100 points of Shadow Cloak, you would get 20 Shadow Cloak back. Okay, so it's like a rebate system. Is that a rebate? Is that how that works? Shadow Cloak points gained this way do not affect the target's normal gains of Shadow Cloak points and can exceed the upper limit, so there is a limit somewhere. Shadow Cloak points gained this way grant 80% crit damage / ultimate might bonuses as normal, so you don't get as much of the bonus. I don't know how they keep up with that on the back end, but that is rocket science right there. So there's Shadow Cloak points type 1 and type 2, apparently. Shadow Cloak points gained this way are removed when this status ends, so you don't get to keep them either. Shadow Cloak is so much. There's so much going on with that. And that's all just part of Shadow Feast. Oh boy. This is what I like to call a rocket science kit, where if you go through the actual details of it and read through it and try to understand it from like a technical perspective, it's going to seem like rocket science, but then once you get in game, it works out very easily and it's kind of almost like, it's passive essentially. It's a passive thing that's happening that you don't even notice if you're actually playing the game. But if you try to understand how it actually works, it's gonna get confusing. So after that, we have her first skill, which is Midnight Mischief. This is an attack all the way across the board, a single target attack at incantation level 1. The character loses 10% of their current HP to deal 120% reality damage. I don't love mechanics and attack things that make you lose HP. It freaks me out and makes me think my characters are immediately going to die, but it makes sense for the Blood Tithe mechanic, because I think every Blood Tithe character loses HP to do something somewhere along the line. You know, like, this isn't new. This attack counts as a retribution, which I believe we did have retribution as a mechanic come up with Sentinel as well. Retribution deals damage based on 20% of the user's max HP instead of attack. I do remember talking about scaling on max HP with Sentinel, and I believe Retribution is the same mechanic she is running. We'll check in a second. This also grants the user's max HP times 3%, so 3% of that max HP. Points of Shadow Cloak to all allies. Shadow Friend. Again with the Shadow Cloak. So, Shadow Friend then, this is like a bonus attack, it seems like. At the start of the round, lose 10% of your current HP. Current HP, 10% of that HP. Okay, sure. To convert Rubuska's HP depleted by this effect times 70% HP, sure, into Shadow Cloak points with an upper limit equal to 15% of Rubuska's max HP when she enters battle. Okay, Shadow Friend removes itself when Rubuska retreats. So if she dies, you lose the Shadow Friend. Understandable. That is all at Incantation level 1. At Incantation 2, that is going to go up to 180% reality damage from 120, and then the Shadow Cloak percentage goes up to 6% from 3. Then with Incantation level 3, it goes all the way up to 300% reality damage, which is quite a large increase, and you go up to 9% for that max HP Shadow Cloak thing. Okay. Do I think you need to stack this? Because usually with reverse characters, there's one card that you really, really want to stack, and the other one can be stacked, but it's not the end of the world if you're not stacking it. And how I feel about this one, because Rubuska is a support unit, if you are using her as a dedicated support, maybe stack it, because this is basic. This is a buff here, the Shadow Friend buff with the this one, but the percentage, even though it is a percentage, so it will continuously stack and get higher, 9% of that, whatever it is not that crazy. So I don't see it as like the end all. Like, sure, stack it if you can, but I don't think it's like the end all be all if you don't stack it, if you're using her as a dedicated support unit. If it just so happens that Rubuska is your only unit left on the field and you got to start doing damage with her, yeah, you want to stack this. But at that point, you just want to get any damage you can at all. So we'll see what her other incantation looks like, but I don't think you need to stack this, quite frankly. Her other one then is a health incantation, which, yeah, that's probably the one you want to stack. Anyways, at incantation level 1, Shadow Sentry is a mass heal, which is great, actually. Restores the missing so I think it's 25% of the missing HP plus 20% of your the user's max HP. So I'm assuming that is Rubuska's max HP, 20% of that to all allies. Not even trying to do the math there. No critical chance for the healing, so you can't crit on that. Can you crit on a heal? That's news to me. Shows you what I know. This also grants the user's current HP times 4%, so 4% of that current HP points of Shadow Cloak to all allies, Shadow Friends. So this is also going to stack on that Shadow Friend mechanic. Then at Incantation 2, the percentage of Rubuska's max HP that is going to that heal goes up to 25% from 20, and the Shadow Friend percentage goes up to 8 from, was it 4? Yes. So in terms of both incantations, this is doubling the amount of Shadow Cloak, Shadow Friend HP that is going to double essentially every level up on the incantation. I got hiccups. I had to take a water break. Hydration check. Anyways, at incantation level 3 then, the amount of the user's max HP that you're restoring goes up to 30% from that 25 at Incantation 2. And then, again, the amount going to Shadow Friend on the user's HP is 12%. I don't think that is that is not a double, because if this was going to double, it should have gone all the way up to 16. I do, for that reason, think that Incantation level 2 is probably like the most bang for your buck sort of situation with Shadow Sentry. So if you are looking to stack this, maybe get it up to 2 at least. But again, if you're needing to heal, worst case scenario, it still heals at level 1. So this is probably the one you're going to want to stack, though. I don't think you need to get it all the way to level 3, but I do think that's the better way to do the mechanic. Like, if you get it all the way to level 3, yeah, sure, that's great. You get some extra little buffs there. But seeing that it does not double with the Shadow Friend mechanic, I'm like, okay, you still get an increase. It goes up to 12%, but if it, because it doesn't double there, it doesn't go all the way up to 16. I'm like, you probably don't need to get it to 3. Like, 3 is probably overkill. That's what I'm thinking. Getting it all the way up to level 3 is probably overkill. You probably don't need to do all of that. So 2 is, like, store-bought is fine. 2 is fine, So this is probably where I'd cap it off. Again, if you're really in desperate need of a heal, 1 is great too. Like, I don't think you need to stack, but I would think that with the heal, you probably want to stack the heal over the attack if you're using her as a dedicated support. Like I said, if you're in a worst case scenario where Rubuska's your only unit left on the field, you got to stack, you got to use the attack. But it is what it is there. I don't think you really need to stack anything. Like, really, she is and is what it is type character. If you need to heal, you're going to use the heal. I don't think you need to stack it. If anything, I would have the heal stacking like passively in the background for when you need a heal, like you have it just stacking in the corner. So I think it's a good support kit. It's nothing too crazy as long as you don't get into the details of the Shadow Cloak. As long as you're not getting into the nitty-gritty details, it's nothing too crazy. It's a support kit. If you have the Blood Tithe team, she slots in really nicely. And she's fun. She's adorable. She's daughter. We love Rubuska. So we're also going to take a little bit of a look then at her actual passive stuff. So the Perky Piper is her insight levels here. These are what you're going to be unlocking as you level up her insight. It's all passive. Here, you really don't need to worry about it too much. This is just happening. So whenever an ally loses HP, this is at any insight. You don't have to, you can have her at level 1. And this is you still get this buff. But whenever an ally loses HP, you accumulate points of Blood Tithe. Now, we've talked about Blood Tithe already with, I think, the last 3 patches, this being the 3rd patch in a row, because we had Nauticus kit, we had Sentinel's kit, and now we have Rubuska. Rubuska is the last character for this Blood Tithe team. But if you're new here, Blood Tithe is also kind of like a stacking mechanic. Whenever allies lose 3,000 HP combined, you will accumulate 1 point of Blood Tithe. HP lost from being attacked accumulates Blood Tithe at only 30% efficiency. So all these like HP loss mechanics that have been in characters recently makes sense if you're looking at the Blood Tithe mechanic. So that is Blood Tithe. You get that for free. Then at Insight 1, all allies have Shadow Friend when Rubuska is present. So in order to unlock that full buff from Shadow Friend, you do need to have Rubuska at Insight 1, but that is pretty easy to reach. Like, if you should probably have all your characters at Insight 1 at least. I recently, because I'm still pretty early game on the endgame stuff, I haven't really been touching endgame for like a while. So I've been getting all my characters to Insight 2 level 50 and very slowly starting to get some of them to Insight 3. So Insight 1 is baby stuff. You'll be fine. With this also, though, whenever an ally reaches full capacity of Shadow Cloak, which we're not talking about the inner workings of Shadow Cloak again, Rubuska gains Moxie +1. Rubuska can reserve up to 3 excess Moxie replenished at the end of the round if applicable. Seems pretty good. Insight 2 then, means to an end. This is just a basic thing everyone... Insight 2 is pretty standard across the board for all characters, but with Insight 2, you gain max HP plus 5% when entering battle, and looking at how Rubuska stacks off that max HP for a lot of her incantations, this seems great, actually. Seems great. Because a lot of the time, Insight 2 buffs will be like extra damage, extra attack, extra defense. Here, considering most of what Rubuska scales off of is related to her max HP, that's great. With Insight 3 then, when entering battle, this grants all allies Grace of Rubuska #1. So this is a positive status effect where you can survive a lethal attack and recover 30% of Rubuska's max HP. Removes upon trigger, unstackable, and undispellable, so you get 1 free Death Defiance. Yeah, I'm pulling for her. She might be the new best healer in the game. I think Rubuska being the best healer in the game at this point is a little bit... It's debatable, I think, because that 1 free Death Defiance, that rocks, but there's also the Blood Tithe mechanic going on, and I feel like some of the Blood Tithe characters can slot in and out with other teams, but to get the best out of that mechanic, you really need to run the Blood Tithe team. It's not really a free-to-play friendly team, especially because Nautica is like the pillar of this team. So debatable if Rubuska is the like new best healer in Reverse 1999, but in terms of the Blood Tithe team, she is the best. For a while it was Ezra. For some reason he has a Blood Tithe mechanic. Not sure where that came from still, but it's there. But that Death Defiance at Insight 3, yeah, that does it. After an ally's attack, Rubuska restores 12% of her own max HP to all allies, triggering up to 3 times per round. No critical chance for the healing. I didn't even know you could crit on a heal, but I guess you can. Actually, you know, now that I say that, I feel like I have seen, like I've watched with my own eyes, characters crit on a heal before. So never mind, I take it back. You can crit on a heal. So with that then, we're gonna switch over to the pay to play section while I move my box. So what is the pay to play section if you're new here? I recently, and by recently I mean earlier this year, found out how much people are spending to max out their characters in gacha games. So I started doing the pay to play section, which is where we go through all the extra character copies and I say whether or not I think it's worth it for your money. Because it's rough out there right now, and you really don't need to be spending that much on a gacha game, especially a gacha game that is a lot more free-to-play friendly than a lot of other gacha games out there. So, let's talk about Rubuska. Obviously, if you have the money to spend, if you have the disposable income, it's your money, you can do with it what you want. I'm just giving my recommendation because it's rough out there right now. My general recommendation, and I say this every single time though, my general recommendation is, especially with a character that is not limited like Rubuska, she will be going to the standard. And I think it was 3.4 she's hitting standard, so 3 patches from now. My general recommendation is for low spenders, just get the 1 copy. And if you want to get more copies later on, if you're still using Rubuska in like 3 months, is it 3 months? It's probably closer to like 4 months if it's 3 patches, 4 or 5 months from now. It's less than 6, but that's when, for low spenders, I would recommend going usually to Portrait 1 or 2, depending on the buff. I haven't really looked at them yet. They're sitting right in front of me, but I haven't really dealt with it. And would you look at that, a buff for Rubuska the first? I knew that was gonna come up. Anyways, if you are a whale, go to 1 or 2 with your general pulls. Like when you are first pulling for the character, go to 1 or 2. After that, if you're still using the character in 3 to 6 months for whales, that's when you can go to Portrait 5. But you never know, especially because Rubuska is more of like a very particular use case. She's made for the Blood Tithe team. Blood Tithe might not be a viable mechanic in 6 months. You know, like we might be moved on to an entirely different team mechanic. No one's using Blood Tithe. And at that point in time, you don't need those extra copies of Rubuska. So that's my general recommendation. We're going to actually take a look at it and figure out whether it's 1 or 2 is the like actual good one there. But let's get into it. So everything we just went over is Rubuska at portrait level 0. That is the singular copy of Rubuska. Totally normal, totally easy to get, especially if you've been saving up, and especially if you've recently decided to go through the main story. But as we continue to go down the list, it's going to get a little bit more pricey. So portrait level 1, this is 2 copies of Rubuska, is a buff for Rubuska's ultimate. All hail Rubuska the first, which I literally said that her ultimate's going to get a buff somewhere. So with this, Shadow Feast duration is increased to 2 rounds from, I think it's generally 1. I gotta look for Shadow Feast now. What the heck? Oh, Shadow Feast. I'm literally looking at it. Yeah, I guess it just doubles the rounds. It increases to 2 rounds. Okay. The transfer ratio of Shadow Cloak points is increased to 35%. Originally, I believe it is, where is it? 20. Is it 20? I think it's originally 20, so it goes up by 15%, I think. I'm having trouble reading this today. I think it might be because I'm rusty doing kit reviews because I haven't done a kit review in a hot minute in any of my games. Critical damage and ultimate might bonuses gained from the additional Shadow Cloak granted by Shadow Feast increases to 100% as normal. So I do think her portrait level 1 is like quite worth it just for that alone, the 100. Because if you remember, if I can find where it says, yes, points gained this way grant 80% crit damage / ultimate might bonuses as normal. So it goes up to 100. I think that's pretty worth it just for that part. What was the weird part? Because I was like, that seems like a weird number. I think maybe it was the 10% max HP thing. I'm like, that's gonna buff out, but I don't think it buffed out. I think it's still 10% of that max HP. That was not the part that got the buff. Is there another one for Rubuska the first? No, it's just that one. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, it seems like everything else then is going to be either a buff for... There's 1 buff for Midnight Mischief and then 3 for the Perky Piper, which is her passive skills. So that's interesting. Portrait level 2 then, this is going to be 3 copies of Rubuska, is one of those buffs for the Perky Piper. That is, as you can see here, her passive skills. With this, Shadow Cloak's full capacity increases to 18% of Rubuska's max HP when she enters battle. Originally, it is 12. So you get a little bit of an increase there. It is a percentage increase, like I kind of mentioned earlier, so that is going to continually stack because it's a percentage and not a flat rate, but it's still a pretty low percentage, I would say. Also, though, Shadow Friend's Shadow Cloak conversion rate is increased to 100%. So the Shadow Cloak conversion rate, or is that 70 probably? Shadow Friend's Shadow Cloak conversion rate. Yeah, so I think originally it's 70% of Rubuska's HP depleted by this effect, so that goes up to 100, I think. So I do think her 1 and her 2 are pretty worth it, quite frankly, especially because with the Perky Piper, wait, maybe it's here. No, with the Perky Piper thing, that is going to be like portrait level 2 is going to apply to Insight 1. Sometimes when you get a buff for the passive skill, whatever that may be, it like buffs Insight level 3, and it's like, well, if you're not leveling up everyone to Insight 3 immediately, like upon getting them, you have mats ready. It's gonna take a minute for you to really use that. But I think this is relevant to Insight 1 because Shadowfriend and Shadowcloak are mentioned here. Yeah, so this Portrait level 2 is relevant to Insight level 1, so you will be using that pretty early on, so I do think it's pretty worth it. So yeah, I would say 1 or 2. Kind of your call. I feel like 1 and 2 are pretty equal in how much they matter to Rubuska as a character, but I also don't think you need them immediately. Maybe 1, but also 80 to 100% isn't crazy, so I think it would what really would come down to it is pull that singular copy of Rubuska, see how much you're using her, see where a buff could be helpful, and then maybe pull the portraits. I don't think you absolutely need all the portraits immediately, especially because she is a character that's going to standard later on, so we're all going to lose a 50-50 to her eventually. But I do think this is the best way to do a support kit, because I think a character is at their best when you don't even need the extra copies for them to be a viable unit. When you get into a character really needing those extra copies to be a viable unit, that's when it really becomes not free-to-play friendly. And considering the Blood Tithe team is already not free-to-play friendly, I feel like having a character that you only need the one copy is great because already this is not a free-to-play friendly team. So kind of lessening that burden a little bit and taking away some of those like, hey, you need these extra copies on at least one of the characters is pretty nice, I would say. But that seems to be a common theme with Reverse 1999, is that it's not super, and I've said this already in the video, Reverse 1999 is one of the more free-to-play friendly gacha games out there. And it's because of stuff like this. Like, you don't have to get every single copy of every character in order for the game to be playable. So moving on then, we go to Portrait level 3. This is 4 copies of Rubuska. This is the singular buff for Midnight Mischief, which is her attack incantation. Reality damage dealt is increased to 180% from 120, 270% from 180, and 450% from 300. Do I think this is a good portrait? Yes, but only if you are using Rubuska as a sub DPS as opposed to a dedicated support, because I don't think she could go all the way in as being like your main DPS. Someone's probably tried to build her as a main DPS, and I applaud you for doing that, but I don't think she is going to work well as your main DPS. Sub DPS is even questionable, but if you do find yourself doing more damage with her than healing, that is when you'd probably want to go all the way to level 3. But if you're using her as a dedicated support, this is fully a means to an end. You don't need this. It's really not going to help you that much. It could be nice to have, especially if your entire team dies and you need to use your Rubuska in a worst case scenario situation. But I don't think you need this. She's not a DPS. She is a support unit. So I don't think you need that. I was curious why there was only the one buff for Midnight Mischief, and that's why. Personally, I think this should have been a buff for, what was it, Shadow Sentry? Yeah, Shadow Sentry. That Portrait level 3 should have really been a buff for Shadow Sentry as opposed to Midnight Mischief. I don't know why that's there, because she's not a DPS unit. She is a support unit through and through. So I don't know why that's there, but it is. Gacha game kits always have to put in at least one paid copy of the character that is like unnecessary, and that's the one. Portrait 3 is the one. You don't need that if you're using her as a support unit. Okay, moving on. Portrait level 4. This is 5 copies of Rubuska. This is going to be another buff for the Perky Piper. We're going back to her passive. So after an ally is attacked, Rubuska restores 16% of their own max HP to all allies, and I believe this is related to her Insight 3. So again, I would wait to get these 4 and 5, especially because 3 sucks. I would wait to get 4 and 5 to after you build your Rubuska entirely. And if you're actively using this, if you find yourself actively using that HP restore, that's when you go for the extra copies, because these are for Insight 3. So you have to build up your entire Rubuska in order to use this. But it goes up to 16% from 12. So it's a little bit of an increase, but it's not crazy. Do I think this is absolutely necessary to run Rubuska? No, I don't think you need 4. Moving on then all the way to Portrait level 5, this is 6 copies of Rubuska, characters maxed out. For every 100 points of Shadow Cloak owns, allies under Shadow Friend will gain plus 1% of crit damage. And then for every 200 points, you get plus 1% of ultimate might. So basically, this Shadow Friend buff at Insight, the Grace of Rubuska. Is it Grace of Rubuska? No, great. What is this buffing? This is a Perky Piper thing, but I think it's just... Okay, so Insight 1 is where Shadow Friend comes in, so this does apply to Insight 1, which is interesting. I was expecting something that would apply to Insight 3 again. This does apply to Insight 1, so her level 5 you can use immediately just about, but basically what it does is... I'm trying to see where it lists the Insight 1 stuff, because this was the thing that was originally 200, 300. Yes, this is related to Shadow Cloak. Okay, so with the Shadow Cloak mechanic, you have that 200 critical damage, 300 for ultimate might. I gave the example of like 400 gives you 2%, 600 gets you 2%, right? So in this case, if you had 200 points of Shadow Cloak, you would already get 2% of crit damage increase. And then similarly, if you had 400 stacks of Shadow Cloak, you would get 2% of ultimate might. Basically, it brings that down by about, I would say a good margin. I was gonna say by about half, but it's not exactly half. It brings down the amount you need to stack to get the percent increase. Do I think you need this? Debatable. Because if you're like using Rubuska a lot, then yeah, probably I'd recommend getting it, but I don't think you need it to run her, quite frankly. I do think these are good extra copies of the character because you don't need any of these. Quite frankly, I don't think you need any of these. I think her base kit is like good enough for what she needs to do, which is a good character in my opinion. If the character is viable at one singular copy, no extra copies, one free-to-play copy, that's a good character. Like I said, it's when you start getting into the extra copies that it starts to become a cash grab. And this, I don't think Rubuska's a cash grab. That's daughter. So let's go do her trial stage. Oh, I forget that there's like a whole video when you enter the Midnight Whistle thing. That's so cool. It's still so, I have to do Main's Bulletin. That ruined my day. Remembering I have to do Main's Bulletin, I think, oh, and I think I unlocked Reveries in the Rain as well. No, I haven't unlocked it yet. I don't have to worry about that yet. I'll have to worry about it in a couple of days, but not yet. Okay, where Shadows Wait, is that Rubuska? Yes. Okay, survey time. Ideally, I would have done this weeks ago, but we have a week left. I'll get it done. All right, what do we got team-wise? I really hope it's the Blood Tithe team because I want to see how this team runs. It is the Blood Tithe team. Awesome. So, what are we running? We are running main DPS Nautica, like I mentioned earlier. We have sub DPS Sentinel, support Summoice, and then sustain support Rubuska. This is the exact team I was talking about running. All right, let's give it a shot. So how I run teams, particularly this way in the trials, is I will focus at first on Rubuska's skills and just seeing them. And then from there, we'll just start running whatever comes up, especially because I still don't really know how Blood Tithe works. We're just gonna run whatever comes up, and if I can clear the thing in a reasonable amount of time, the team is good. I don't really think about it in a trial team. So we're gonna turn up double speed, and then we're gonna see how this team works here. So this is her heal, and this is her attack. So we'll run the attack, we'll run her heal, and then we're gonna have things to start, like doing whatever. I think I also have to manually do the Blood Tithe. So we'll manually do Blood Tithe, and then we'll do her attack, her heal, and do we have anything here that wants to stack? No, so I'm just gonna already start hitting things. So there's that Blood Tithe, and then we have Rubuska's attack right there. Doesn't really hit that hard, but she's not your main DPS, so that's fine. And then that's the heal. So her heal is actually pretty good, I would say. And now we can double. So we have no Blood Tithe yet? Okay. And that heal seems to be a little bit passive as well, because we're getting hit and we're still healing. So I do think Rubuska's a good healer still. I will stand by that one. Whose skill is this? That's Nautica's. Okay. Yeah, because then you can, the little moths, butterflies, whatever flying around, that's related to Rubuska. I'm just looking at what stacks. Do we have any duplicates? I don't think so. So we're just gonna start going down the line. Just start going down the line and taking things out until we get to Rubuska's ult and we can see that, and then we can just keep going. I'm not trying for this. I don't want to think about it. All right, we started doing damage. Thanks, Summoice and Nautica. Thank you, Nautica. I still think we need an animation skip because while I love Nautica's animation, it just takes so long. We have some Blood Tithe backup, so I'll hit that. We can actually probably let it sit because we don't really need it immediately because Blood Tithe really heals, I think. I think that's kind of what that does. Probably should run it now that I'm looking at it. All right, let's start stacking things, people. I'm doing an attack because I'm tired of being here. Oh, that's Rubuska's ult, isn't it? Okay, we'll run her ult. Oh, what does her ult do again? I already forgot. It's a buff, Shadow Feast for 2 rounds. So let's do her ultimate first then, I think. So we'll buff Nautica out, and then we can really run that, and then we'll do that, and we'll lead it up after her ult. So this is what her ultimate looks like. It's cute. Okay, that's cute. That's really cute. She's fun. I like her. That's daughter. All right, now we can just auto our way through the whole thing. Now we're doing numbers. Way to go, team. Ooh, look at all those ultimates. Ult run, baby, ult run. Take it. Ooh, who got killed? No one, I just lost an ult. I don't know what happened. I'm looking at what we want to stack. That, I think that's all we can stack, yeah. Yeah, okay. So, do I want to do Blood Tithe this round? Yeah, I'll do Blood Tithe. Hold on, redo. I'm starting to put too much thought into this. Use that ult. Sure, this might work. Probably didn't need that Blood Tithe because I'm so used to like being very heavy-handed on the Blood Tithe because I'm used to having a not good healer on this team. But Rubuska's actually pretty good for this team. I did not have a single stab for Nautica's ult. I think it's because of I used Blood Tithe and healed. All right, so forget Blood Tithe. We actually have a good healer now. Forget Blood Tithe. We'll use Blood Tithe when we're like all the way down on health, but we don't need it immediately. Run that. Use Summoice to get some of that HP down. Sentinel's ult is still so cool. Oh, 9 stabs now. Look at that. Let's go, Nautica. 1 down, baby, 1 down. All right, Let's do that. Do an attack and do that, sure. I think I like Rubuska's ult on double speed more because her little song is faster and it's cuter that way. It's cuter that way. I think her ult is cuter when it's double speed. All right, I think I'm finally learning how Nautica works as well. Look at that. You do a blood tithe tutorial enough times. Eventually you'll figure out how it works. We'll get there eventually. Don't you dare chomp my team. Giant carbuncle you. Yeah, I feel like this is how you're actually supposed to use blood tithe, but I just didn't know before. That, I'm gonna sit on that heal. Like I've said before, we don't need it immediately. Oh, but I do want that buff. I don't necessarily want to heal though, because we do more damage when we're not healed. We'll sit on you guys back here with this buff, because my toxic trait as a reverse 1999 player is I don't like to move incantations. They're either gonna match up by themselves or we die. I don't know what to tell you. Semmelweis's, I feel like we had some characters that were pretty low health though. Semmelweis's ult might be the end of us. I don't think she can take out an entire character though. Oh, take out that giant carbuncle already. Guys, come on. Team, get it together. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Semmelweis. Coming in clutch. This is how this team is supposed to work. It took 3 patches, but this is how this team is actually supposed to work. What a time to be alive. It's funny because it's what a time to be alive, but 2 of the characters on this team are vampires. All right, let's focus on the one with the most HP. What do we want to do here? I don't want to heal, but I want to start stacking. Buff Nautica, do that. Water break. I actually don't know if Rubuska's a vampire or not. I'm gonna be honest. Because I've seen people call her a vampire, and then I've seen other people be like, she's not actually a vampire. So I'm like, what's the truth? Is she my vampire daughter or not? Wait, I know Semmelweis's. That's a non-question, but Rubuska, on the other hand, can't be sure. She's my vampire daughter and my horde. Did we take out a carbuncle or do they have 2 health in a dream? I think the one in the end has 2 health in a dream. Yeah, Rubuska is just keeping everyone alive, which is awesome. Do we want to do a full ult run? That could be fun. Full ult run, baby. Rubuska's so cute. I love Rubuska's ult. She's so cute. That's daughter. Interestingly enough, I have adopted both of the blood tithe sustained support units in reverse 1999 as my children now. Because Ezra's the other one, and that's my son. All right, ooh, 12 stabs. Look at that. Get it. That might take it out. Yep, that took it out. Thanks, Nautica. The ult run went crazy. See, she touched Crave Victor. I love her. That's daughter. Does she have pigtails? I thought she had a bob this whole time. But does she have little pigtails? That's so cute. All right, let's hit enter. Hopefully it doesn't throw me in anything. Oh, thank God it didn't. But I will say the art for her character story is very nice. I like it a lot. It's always a gamble when we click into these character stories, because sometimes it'll throw you immediately into the story, and it's like, no, we're not doing that today. I might do her character story later today, but not in this video. This is the kit review. It's separate videos. How cute. Her music is so nice. I love, that's daughter. That is daughter right there. Rubuska is daughter. Ezra is son. Okay, let's go pull. If I get Rubuska early, if I win the 50-50, we might start pulling for Mercuria, but also I think Aleph has a rerun this patch as well, and I want his garment as well. So we'll see what happens. I might just be continuously pulling this entire patch because I don't plan to pull for Corvus, so we'll see what happens. And that was my initial pull plan, quite frankly, is I was planning on pulling Rubuska over Corvus. I wasn't super interested in Corvus, but maybe her kid's insane. I don't know. We'll see next half patch. We'll see in like a week. Let's start summoning. I was like, am I getting DC'd right now? It's like 2 in the afternoon. Are you gonna DC me at 2 in the afternoon? Stranger things have happened. Please don't DC me at 2 in the afternoon. Guys, I'm scared. Did my internet go down? Like, oh, we're in. It's probably a bad idea to pull right now, but we're gonna do it anyways. What were we at? I think 35 on my record. Yeah, 34. Okay, 34 pity. So we'll bring it up to 44 because I'm just gonna do a temple because I already have 9. And then we spin. I don't think that's the right gold. So we'll get like a 5-star. I didn't even talk about the 5 stars on this banner. Just open all. 5 stars, so we got Baby Blue and Mr. Duncan. Okay. So yeah, okay, so Mr. Duncan isn't on this banner, first of all, but the actual 5 stars are Baby Blue and Click. Baby Blue I actually think is a pretty good 5-star unit. I used to use Baby Blue like a ton, and you know what, Baby Blue is also daughter. Click is fine. I've not really used Click. So we're at 44 now, and now I'm gonna do singles to even it out a bit. So this will bring us up to 45, and it's Oliver. 46. I didn't go shop. We're at 46, everyone. What's in the bank? I think I got my free pulls from the bank. Yes, but I have one I can buy. So yeah, I got my free pulls already, and I think I probably used them in Olive. Okay, so 47, and it's white gold. Where's my mouse? I lost my mouse. Hi, it's the twins. 48, skip. 49 then. That's gonna be a 5-star. It is tenant. Okay, that's I think that might be free real estate. No, I own my tenant max. Is this 50? I think it's 50. We're gonna count this as 50. All right, 50. So then bring it up to 60. And that is not gold enough. So we got 2 more 5-stars with Desert Flannel and Loggerhead. Again, neither of you are on this banner. Let's go do a grab because I can get another from here. Okay, so up to 70, which we're getting into hard pity territory. I thought we'd get lucky with how many clear drops I had, but I still have so much of the story to get through. So we should be getting some more, but we'll go another one. And this will bring us up to 70, which that is gold enough. So, all right, we want mineral. Let's go. Please let me, oh, it's plant. Oh no. Okay, we do meet again. I can't even be mad because Argus is one of my most used characters. Like, I literally can't be mad. I can't. I use Argus still. Like, I can't be mad. But we will not be pulling Mercuria. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to get her Christmas outfit. I might buy it before the end of the patch and get her later on because I really do like the Christmas outfit they gave her. And just kind of like hold on to it on my account. Same thing with Olive because we lost the 50-50 and I'm going to keep going now. I can't do a full 10 pull. So I actually have no idea what we're at pity-wise. So we're just going to keep pulling. Because it wasn't at 10. It was like 6 in the 10 pull. So let's just say it was 6. So that was like, we were at 4, then we'd be a 5. So we're like, that was like 5 pity. This will be 6. And if she does not come home by the end of this video, I will keep pulling off camera, by the way. And yeah, so 7, we go to pull 7, skip. Hi, Poltergeist. This is pull 8, I think. Yeah, we keep going. Pull 9, the Fool. We've seen like everyone today. Pull 10. Could I have done it? Wait a minute. That's a 5-star, right? Yeah, it's a 5-star. Okay, who is it? Kanjira. Okay. And then this will be our last one. So this will be pull 11, I think. The twins. Okay. All right. Because I don't tap into my crystal drops. I use those for garments specifically. Anything? We can get 2 more. So we'll grab those, which means I probably could have just done a 10 pull. This will be 13. Yeah. Hypothetically, allegedly, I don't know. And then this is 14. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. I will be continuing to pull though. So fingers crossed on that one that she will come home eventually because I kind of need her for the Blood Tithe team at this point. So we'll keep trying. We'll keep trying. But we have a ton of stuff we still need to do. So we'll get somewhere. But like I can't be... Literally, I have Argus pinned right now. I can't be mad about this because Argus is literally, I have a garment for her. Like, she's literally one of my favorite characters. Like, come on. Be so for real. Bond is 100%. Like, my box, hold on. Look at that. Bond with Argus is 100%. I literally am not beating the allegations here. Like, I love Argus. I can't be mad that I got a portrait for her, really. She's pinned right now because I unlocked Resonance, so I've been upgrading things. So that's why she's pinned, because she was the character I was working on most recently. I have her best in slot side cube. It's not built yet, but I literally have it here. Like come on. I literally can't be mad. So it's fine. I'm gonna keep pulling for Rubuska, but like it's not the end of the world that I got Argus instead. Like of all the characters I could have gotten, at least it's a character that I still use, you know? All right, let me get my whatever is in the wilderness. I knew I was gonna lose the 50-50 too, because my track record of winning 50-50s in this game is really bad. So I saw it coming anyways, so I'm not really like shocked, you know? I'm just checking my current state of my wilderness while I'm out here. You can tell I was playing late last night because my stamina still isn't all the way capped. Like it's still recharging itself, but I'm fine. We'll be fine. She'll come home eventually. It's fine. Let's go stare at her banner art now. Look at that. That's daughter. All right. Well, this is where we end the video. That's going to be it for today. I will be doing her character story as well as I think the necrologist anecdote is the one I have to do like in the next couple of days here. And I will be trying to upload those in a timely manner. I still need to watch the stuff for Rubuska as well. I need to do the reactions for her videos and stuff, but we might do that a little bit later on at this point because I have other timely stuff to do first. We'll see. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to give me a like down below as well as subscribe for more and hit the little notification bell to be notified when I upload new ones. Let me know in the comments down below how your Rubuska polls went. Were you luckier than I? Let me know. But as always, I hope everyone hatter is having a super lovely day wherever you are in the world. Merry Christmas, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys!